Right, welcome everybody to another episode of the Love Island Cast. I am one of your hosts, Chris Phelps, and my co-host and very good friend is Mr. Dave Horan.
Hey there, Chris. Great to be on again so we can dissect a little bit of what we've just seen. So where do you want to start today?
I think we should start, Dave, with the splitting up of Mike and Leanne. We alluded to it on yesterday's episode regarding, we're going to reserve judgment. I was going to go all in on Leanne. I don't think necessarily the way she spoke about Mike was the best when she was with the girls, but I do think what she said afterwards was correct. If it's not right, then it's not right. You've got to get out. So I give her respect for that because she stopped it and she could have carried on and gone, fuck it, I've got to stay in the villa. We're quite a popular couple. Let's see how far I've gone. And I think genuinely, to me, I think she come out with a bit of credit. I don't know how you feel, Dave. Like I say, a bit arsey with his girls, but once she talked to him and got it out the way, I was thinking, no, you know what? I can, it settles well with me that I don't necessarily think she did too much wrong, to be honest.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And I think, from very early on, we sort of said, Mikey just seems a little bit too slick, doesn't he? There's something about him that's not quite right. And I think she's possibly just picking up on that. I mean, when he said, when the new guys came in and he said, oh, I'm here with this lovely young lady here, it sort of reminded me a bit of Curtis when I think back to it, and just it's like using old people's language,
Yeah.
And I just think, particularly after that whole breakup, I mean, he didn't seem that distraught really, but then we see from the preview, don't we, he's sort of straight on to Sophie. So I think joining those two things up, it still screams to me that he is playing games and that it's just that he can't say out loud to Leanne, it's like, look, I don't like you either. I'm not really that cut up. It's just that that's the game plan, to try and get us votes.
I agree with that. I very much like, I've always fancied your mate, actually. So that's what I'm going to do. But if Sophie does go for it, then they're going to have a problem, her and Leanne, aren't they? Let's be honest, because they're really close as friends. There's a circle of 3 or 4 there, Paige and that. And they're all like, and Siannise, I suppose, they're really, really close, the 4 of them. If that does happen, irrespective of the show, I can see some proper kickoffs, unless Leanne gives the consent to say. I think whoever Sophie's interested as well, to be honest.
So when you want to high five the bloke and you don't want him to touch you, or when he speaks it just irritates you, I don't think she's gonna have that much of a problem myself. It's only when you've got those deep feelings for someone, and then someone steps in that you get a bit of a Siannise situation where you get upset. So I don't know. I don't think Leanne will be bothered at all, especially if she, ends up trying to couple up with someone else.
No, that could be a good point, Dave. I think we saw something with Luke T when he first come in. That's when, as you said, I'm with this lovely young lady. That whole thing was when I think she turned more than anything, because you could see in her eyes saying, "Who the fuck are you to talk for me?" You know what I mean? I make my own mind up, and I think that's where that whole divide has come between them. So hopefully something happens. But again, Dave, we've had another episode dominated with this fucking triangle that I don't fucking care, to be honest, but it's getting a lot of airtime. It's Siannise, Rebecca and Luke T. And I've got to say, Rebecca, again, having thought about what I said in that, yeah, she's playing games. She knows what she's doing. I think I'm a bit of an error of judgment on my part. I'm happy to hold my hands up. But she's also correct at the end of the show by saying, she can fuck off. Isn't this exactly what Siannise was digging me out for doing? Now she's doing it because this Luke T's now come out and said, this Wallace guy, I was just about to pick you. Well, that's a convenient, isn't it? Because we know the recoupling's coming up. I'm sorry. But Siannise has fell for it. But then I think Rebecca's right. I think fucking Siannise is just being a bitch. She's gone after Rebecca. Now it's the boots on the other foot. And we're going to see this unravelling on tomorrow's show properly, because we've just got a bit of a preview. I think Rebecca's well within rights to say to her, you fucking taking the piss here, you double standard merchant. I mean, what do you think about that, Dave?
I think we're going to have plenty of people on all different sides of this.
Yeah.
Where I feel myself is that they're all just a bunch of bastards. I don't like any of them.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing.
Yeah, so let's try and dissect it, right? Luke T, you're full of shit, right? Someone shows a bit of interest, and then your comfortable position, where you've got two girls fighting over you, is suddenly threatened, and you're saying to Siannise, you don't like it. So you go to Siannise, that's a shame. I know it's really bad timing, but, I was kind of thinking telling Rebecca, it's off and whatever. And this was in the night, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And again, it's all very convenient, but you can see so I don't like Luke T. I think he's full of shit. I've said many times I don't like Siannise. Everything about her is fake. It's all about me. And Luke T, though, he's pushed the right buttons, hasn't he? He said he's flattered her a bit, so she's getting all like bit giddy over it. But even when she came back from the date, he's like, oh well, yeah, he said he was interested in me. I'm sure that's an exclusive statement when he's on these 3 dates. But it's just everything about it winds me up. And again, I don't particularly like this Rebecca, but I do. I must admit, watching it tonight, I did think, yeah, I can't really disagree with you there. Because, to have all the girl code rammed down your throat. And again, I just think with those arguments a couple of nights ago, both girls were giving it, but Siannise is the one who goes off playing the victim and sort of washes away anything that she's said. But we've said in the past, this girl code thing, this guy code thing, it's full of shit. It's all very different when people can be all high and mighty and say, oh, you know what? You should have done it a different way. Fuck off. A different way. When it's yourself, you make excuses for yourself and don't see anything wrong with it. So yeah, Rebecca's not wrong. It's all kind of it's all just hypocrisy, isn't it?
Yes.
So, and all she's doing is calling out the hypocrisy. But, as some of our listeners have pointed out, Rebecca did snake Siannise twice, so maybe it's just karma.
Yeah, you could be right. It's all fair in this sort of situation. But I think for me personally, Dave, and it's an inherent thing with me, is you always get these fucking people on the moral high ground. And I think I'm not a fan of Rebecca one bit. You can see she's fame hungry. She's nothing endearing about her, to be honest. Other than when she first come in, I thought, oh, she's a pretty girl, freckles and all. Naturally, she looked pretty with and without makeup. I hope she's going to bring a bit of realism to the actual villa. Not into it, but from my point of view as a human being, that is the worst thing I can see unravel when somebody is so adamant about something and taking the moral fucking high ground, and then as soon as they do it, they just clam up. I don't know what you're fucking talking about. And it's like, well, don't be so vocal. And we all come across this in life. It always happens at work with various people, but it pisses me off. And then I go on the offensive. So when I'm watching it, I'm like, oh, fuck off. If you're going to stand there in your little white, holier-than-whole moral gown, Siannise, then don't go fucking doing exactly what you're calling someone else out on it. As much as I don't like Rebecca or Siannise, I'm just like, nah, you can all fucking go for me. And Luke T, as I said the other day, he was literally sliding into a DMs with Siannise the other day. He's like, oh, that's terrible. Like, yeah. Let me just get a bit closer. You might want to come in for a kiss. It's like, fuck off. He can go as well, Dave. I'm sorry. He's gone in my mind anyway.
Yeah, I was calling out Mike for just being a bit too smooth, but I think Luke T's worse. Don't like him.
No, I'm with you. Now, Dave, we've got a nice email we're going to read out, and we've got a review that we probably are going to have to discuss, Dave. So the email's off our friend Kayla again. So thank you, Kayla. And it's Rebecca's Shenanigans is the title. The show is coming across more and more scripted as each episode airs, but glad to see Rebecca getting back what she dishes out. From the preview, Mike is showing his true colours. And I think it's weird that now that he's single, his first thought is to get to know Sophie. We totally agree with that. Leanne's closest friend. And not Rebecca or wait for a new girl. Paige and Finn are a terrible couple. She consistently picks him apart and interrupts him. But if a man told me to shush, we'd be done. I can't wait to see the drama, Kayla. That's perfect, Dave. Absolute perfect. I think she's called out what we
I
said.
must admit, when the old shushing comes out, I sort of flinch a bit. I'm like,
Yeah.
ooh, that's. But
Yeah.
no one's bit back on that. But it's
No.
happened a few times now with the whole shushing. I think it is a bit disrespectful. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, brilliant email that.
Now, Dave, I'll let you read out the review.
All right. Well, we've actually got two because one
All
of
right.
them we've got from the US. So I'm going to read that one first, but I'm going to revel a bit in the second one. Now, obviously, for our listeners, you know that we're trying to catch up the official Love Island podcast. And since then, the response has been absolutely brilliant. So I really want to thank you all for those of you that have taken out the time and, of course, reviewed us before. Now, this one, so again, all these are on Apple Podcasts, and the subject is Love This Podcast. It says, hi from America. I love this podcast so much. These guys don't hold back, and I love it. They have me cracking up on my morning commute, and I always look forward to the next episode. And that's from Jill Salter. And I hope I've said your name right there. Jill. Could it be Gilles? I don't know. Let me know if I've pronounced that wrong. Now, the second one, Chris, is entitled "Great Fun." Now, let me clear my throat here. I want to savor this one.
I don't.
I listened to both this one and the official podcast. Sorry, Chris, and I love them both. There's no apologies needed. I listened to the official one as well. This is more irrelevant and a different perspective. Don't quite understand that, but okay. If you can't get enough Love Island, you need this podcast in your life. And they talk about the stuff everyone is shouting at the telly, but the official outlets won't mention. A good bit of daily entertainment if you can tolerate the Mancunian accent. Sorry, Chris. P.S. Connor out ASAP. Don't trust Mike the copper. I want Finn to win with a woman who comes in later, in brackets, not Paige after that bizarre tantrum over absolutely nothing. And we finish off, Chris, with, Si, senor. Give the ball to Bobby, he will score. You'll never walk alone. And that is from Alfonso Capone. So, what do you think of that one, Chris?
Great review, Dave. And it was 5 out of 5. Right, but let's get a bit of perspective. We don't, obviously, this is a podcast about Love Island. We both love it, or well, I've made you love it, Dave. Whether you like it or not, I love it. But our allegiances of football teams, it doesn't very rarely come up on this podcast. It does on our other podcast, the Chat Footy, if you want to get over there, guys. Now, Dave is a Liverpool fan. And anybody from the UK or around the world who's into football, and I'm not going to call it soccer because it isn't, it's football, is fully aware of where Liverpool are at the moment. They're absolutely running away with the league, probably better than anybody has in probably our lifetime, Dave, to be fair. And I'm a Manchester United fan. I live within, at the moment, about 2 miles of the ground. I've used to live half a mile away from the ground all my life. Season ticket holder, everything. Now, Dave, to be called out for my Mancunian accent, as I mentioned about Callum, I don't need to do Callum's accent because it's probably pretty much similar to mine. But I'm actually being called out on my accent. And then we even get a Liverpool song at the bottom of the review, Dave. I'm happy with the review, and I'm happy that we get there. We do not need anything more. Nails putting my coffin being a Manchester United fan. It's bad enough as it is. So thank you, Alphonse Capone. I really appreciate it, but I'm not saying any more, Dave. But yeah, when I read it, I must admit, I was reading it pissing myself. I was like, you bastard, Alphonse. But thank you. Any review, good or bad, we take them all on the chin, Dave. Even though you were pissing yourself, Mr. Horrocks, when you got it.
No, that's a brilliant bit of banter.
Yeah,
so
I like it.
Brilliant stuff, Chris. So looking forward to tomorrow. I'm sure there's going to be a few sparks that are going to fly out there. So how's everyone going to get in contact with us?
Well, guys, on Twitter, at Love Island Cast as always. And as we do it on every show, we'll read out your reviews, your tweets, your emails. Now, if you do want to email the show, it is theloveislandcast@gmail.com. And it'd be lovely if someone else would get over there and just drop a review on there. And if you're sick of Dave's accent, it's not a problem. Put it in the review. We take everybody on, you know. I'm sure Dave won't be offended like I am not. You know what I mean? But if you can, guys, in all seriousness, we do appreciate the response to our little plea of more reviews going in. If you do get time, please get them in there, because not just, you know, joking aside, we're trying to catch up to the official one, which, you know, one day, you never know, Dave, but it just helps us get out there in the charts. It gets more people listening and interacting and talking about the show we love. And if you don't agree with myself and Dave, then there's no reason why you shouldn't drop us an email, because I love reading it out and debating it. So the floor is yours, guys. That's what the whole thing's about. So, Dave, thank you for today. I am actually now going to be going off for elocution lessons for the next episode, Dave, and we'll see how I come on tomorrow.
I think the worst thing is I got called a mank at some point last season, didn't I? The last UK season. It was like, oh, these two Manchester lads. It's like, hey. So...
Yeah, but Dave, you did live in Manchester for a long time.
I know. And I tell you what, Man United were winning everything at that time. It was from the late 90s through. And so, again, I'm thinking this is all karma.
Let's just go anyway, Dave. All right, we'll see you tomorrow.
I know.
I know.